Hello, my name is Ariel Kirk and I'm the Agriculture Educator for Cornell Cooperative Extension of Steuben County. Today we're going to go on a tour of some of the farms and agribusinesses across the county. First, let me tell you a little bit about this big county. Steuben County is the 7th largest county of 62 in New York State and is bigger than the state of Rhode Island. Some people live in towns and cities within the county, while others live in more rural areas. Throughout the county, you'll see forested and wooded areas and lots of agricultural land as well. Some farms are easy to spot. They have big red barns, or you can see dairy cows or beef cows in the pastures eating grass. By using the agriculture census, we can see that there are 1,542 farmers in Steuben County. Some grow corn for people food, and some grow corn for livestock food. There are many potato growers in Steuben County too. Did you know there are many different kinds of potatoes? Potatoes grown for potato chips are different than the varieties grown for baked, mashed, or fried potatoes. Farmers across the county grow many different grains and legumes too. Wheat, oats, and barley, to name a few, can all be grown for people and animal feed, depending on the variety and how they're processed. Legumes are beans. We grow beans to eat ourselves, and again, they can be used for animal feed in some ways. But legumes are also helpful to build healthy soil. Without healthy soil, we couldn't grow food well, or keep our animals or ourselves healthy. Don't forget hay. Many people grow hay on their fields to feed livestock throughout the year, and especially in wintertime, when the ground is resting and grasses are covered in snow. We also have vegetable and fruit farmers, maple syrup producers, fiber producers that raise sheep, goats, or alpaca for their wool, fleece, and hair, plant nursery growers, and so many more. So come and join me on a tour of some of the fun places in Steuben County.
Wintertime is one of the more relaxing times on the ranch. Or at least it seems to be for the bison. They love the cold weather. Adapted to temperatures below freezing, their thick layers of bison down, that's the hair they shed in the spring and have been growing since late summer, keep them insulated and warm. When we see the season's first measurable snow, the bison have blankets of the white stuff hugging on their fur as if they were wrapped in a warm, fuzzy robe. This time of year, you will see them much more active than summer or early fall. Running, jumping, happiest as the temperature consistently stays below freezing. They act as if they are on vacation. No flies bothering them. Breeding season is over. No births this time of year. Everyone is in their winter pastures, seemingly stress-free. When we were new to bison ranching, we tried to shelter them from harsh weather. Once we built windbreaks using round bales in the pastures, placing 3 or 4 bales in a U-shape thinking they would simply stand out of the brutal winds. They did not. Instead, they made their beds on the windward side of the bales and faced the wind and snow head on. Another time, we tried to coax them into the barn. That did not go well. So, all in all, they have taught us a few things. The snow on the back of a bison won't melt because of their thick down. You will never lead a bison anywhere they don't want to go. And if you build a bison a barn, they'll stand beside it. Another thing we've noticed about bison in winter is that they tend to eat less than in the warmer months, but they still drink about 10 gallons of water per day. Bison use their muzzle or their hooves to break through ice to get to water. They are also very well adapted to eating snow as a source of hydration. The bison on Mud Creek Bison Ranch have multiple ponds, water holes, and water troughs in their pastures, so availability is not a worry. When the weather continuously stays below freezing, we do frequent the pastures to break ice and ensure the safety of the herd. Bison do not migrate due to inclement weather. They don't travel north and south based on the season like birds or butterflies. They, however, will move to lower elevations on occasion where the snow becomes too deep. These massive animals feed on grasses and sedges year-round. When blizzards blanket our ranch with deep snow, bison use their heads and broad front shoulders as a plow of sorts to push aside the snow and reach the forage below. The hump on the back of a bison actually helps with this process. It consists of powerful muscles supported by long vertebrae that allow them to shift vast amounts of snow as they swing their heads from side to side. Let me set the scene. A bison exhales. The frigid winter air condenses the moisture in his breath to a fog. He dips his head. A burly, messy mass of fur caked with snow. Only the gleam of two black eyes against the white blanket show through. He sweeps his muzzle across the snow. Another snort. Another sweep. As content in this moment as you or I sitting down to dinner in our warm home.
Wow, those bison are really cool. Let's see what you remember. Here's some trivia questions. What is bison down? Do you remember what bison down was? I'll give you a moment to think, and then I'll tell you the answer. Bison down is a thick layer of hair to keep them warm. Think about a down blanket, that's feathers. This is very fine fur that bison have. How much water do bisons drink? Bison drink about 10 gallons of water a day. How many water bottles do you think that is? If you had to guess, how many water bottles? That's over 106 bottles of water for one bison for one day. Bison will move the snow when it becomes too deep and feed on the grasses and sedges all year round. What's the difference between a grass and a sedge? Do you know? One way to tell the difference is a grass blade are flat looking and they have two sides, but sedges are three-sided and they look like a triangle. They have a triangular stem. What makes up a bison hump? A bison hump is a large muscle that they use to move their head around from side to side through the snow, especially to get access to the grass underneath the snow.
Welcome to Dinky Doo Petting Zoo! Where there's lots of family fun and enjoyment. Come and join us, kids! Let's have fun! So welcome, folks. This is where our party room is. And as you can see, we have a special guest today. The Easter Bunny's here. Yeah. So we have lots of fun and activities. We do craft shows and lessons to learn and how to be wonderful people in our society. Huh? We have events, Boo at the Zoo, Santa Claus. Help me.
Okay. We have events throughout the year that allow us to have enormous amounts of fun and learn so much about ourselves, our animals, and our wider world.
Please come join us at Dinky Doo Petting Zoo.
Hi there. So here at Dinky Doo, we have several different types of animals for our kids to pet and love on. We have everything from La Mancha goats to small dwarf goats, llama, alpaca, donkey, sheep, and miniature horses. Not to forget our potbelly pig, Sweet Pea, and our zebu, Lucky. We also have so many rabbits and guinea pigs for our kids to love on here.
So here we are over at the barn with the alpacas. We have about 65 here right now. It's almost shearing season. We're going to shear around May 7th this year. We shear the alpacas once a year. Then our birthing season starts in June through October. These are our showgirls. They're getting ready to go away this weekend. We got a show out in Ohio. We travel all over the United States with them. The gestation period on an alpaca is 11.5 months. There's 23 different colored alpacas. We have about 10 different ones here. A baby alpaca is called a cria. A cria, and then we have the yearlings are a year old, and then when they're 2 is when we first start breeding the females. So they have to be at least 6 months old to take them to a show. 6 months to a year is called the juvie class, and then we have the yearling class, and then the adult class is the next step up. And they're all shown by the same color. So all the fawns will go in the same class, all the whites will be in the same class, all the browns, blacks, grays. One of the biggest things we want out of the alpaca is the amount of fiber per animal. So we want to breed so we get the finest and the longest and the densest animals. That way we're getting more dollars per animal on the return on the fiber part. You can see here, they're nice and fluffy looking. When you open up the fiber, this is obviously a nice white female, long staple length, very dense. So that's why she made it to our show string, and she'll be going to the shows with us this spring. The other thing about alpacas, they only have teeth on the bottom. Here's a look at their teeth. And then there's a palate at the top. And the bottom of their feet are almost the same way. They only got a little toenail on the end that you have to trim. The rest of their foot is more like the palm of your hand. You can see the little toenail up here. This is all soft back here. They originate in Peru. And these are all camelids, so they're related to the camels. They're all blood tested, DNA blood tested. They all have microchips in their ears. And some of them even have their own insurance policy on them because of the value of them. Can they spit? They could probably reach us if they wanted to, 4 or 5 feet. But alpacas really don't spit very much. It is one of their points of protection. So if you have a new mom and you go in there and grab the baby, sometimes, unlikely, but sometimes she'll spit at you. She can't bite you to protect the baby because it's only going to be a pinch. She can't kick you like horses do, so because their feet are so soft that it's next to nothing to get kicked. So one of their protection points is to spit on things. So yes, they do spit, but maybe we get spit on once a year here. It's nothing.
Not bad. Oh my gosh, they want to come to Carla.
We have we board a lot of animals here. We have a quarantine facility, which they have to be quarantined for 90 days before they can go up to Canada.
Really?
We have a birthing facility here, which say you had a couple animals and you had to go to work every day and you're afraid that she's going to have her baby while you're at work. You could bring her here and we'd birth her out for you. We take animals, other people's animals to the shows. Yes, 65 alpacas here.
Okay.
Then there's rabbits, there's donkeys, there's chickens, there's goats, there's peacocks.
That's awesome.
We kind of have a little educational tour thing going on that people can come here for a tour and check out all the animals, and it's an educational thing for kids. And here's one bunny. Come here. Stop. These are called Frizzle Chickens. pet this one, they're hardly like feathers. It's soft, more like, oh, stop. Feel how soft they are?
That is soft.
These are full grown. Oh, stop. Actually, there's an egg in the corner and one laid this morning. Yeah. They're called Polish chickens with the things on their heads.
Do you show any of them at the fair?
Yes, the kids do take them down to the fairs. We also, in the springtime, we get pheasants from the Soil and Water Conservation. We raise the pheasants to, I think they're 12 weeks old, and then we release them into the wild to try to bring the pheasant population back. So they actually give us the pheasants. We don't have to buy them. They give them to us. We have to take care of them and raise them. And we do it here, but in this pen. But what we do is bring in a bunch of Christmas trees and stuff so they can hide. And we only feed them at night when they can't be, you know, we don't want them to get used to people. So when we do release them in the wild, that they're still kind of wild. And you can see our peacocks are up there. More chickens. The goats are being themselves. Popcorn's a big hit with the kids. He lets all the kids pick him up and hold him. He's about 4 years old. He's a Banny rooster. All the little kids really like picking him up and holding him.
Beautiful.
This is unusual for a Banny. Usually they want to fly at you and they think they're the king of the land around here, but this one's pretty nice. Go ahead. Go on.
Why popcorn?
That's my kids named them Popcorn. This here is called a Turkin. See how it has no...
Yeah.
That's another breed of chicken. That's the way they're born, without the feathers on its neck.
Interesting.
We just gathered up a bunch of eggs about 6 weeks ago now and gave them to the FFA group at the school, and they just hatched them out, and one of them happened to be a Turkin.
Really?
So their kids all get a kick out of that. But there's the peacock. He won't put it. In his morning time, he puts his feathers up. It's really pretty. Actually, he came from the school about 4 years ago when they hatched him out in school.
Really?
And we seem to be the collect-all for them when they hatch these things out. And
Good resource for you. Here you go. Oh, good boy.
this is Jack. He's another mascot of the farm. He kind of runs loose all day long and then comes in the mill when he wants a treat. And the kids all really like him. He's got to get shedded out for the summer. He still has his winter coat. That'll fall out here pretty shortly. Then he's got some friends over there. There's 3 more over there. We got Thunder, Charlie, and Palmer.
Jack found the good hay.
Yeah. Huh.
Did you show him?
Before we head over to the fiber mill to see what they do with all that alpaca fur, let's take another break and see what you've learned so far. How often do they shear the alpacas? They shear them just once a year. Do you remember how many different colors there are of alpacas? There are 23 different colors, but this farm just has 10 different colored alpacas. What country did alpacas come from? They came from Peru and are related to the camel. Now, let's go visit the fiber mill and see what great products come from these alpacas.
This is the washer. This is where it all starts. First of all, 95% of the stuff we do here at the mill is for other farms around the United States. They ship us their fleece, we process it into yarn, rovings, and batting, and ship it back to them. So here's where it all starts. This is the washer. I can wash about 3.5 pounds in each one of these bins. It takes about an hour and a half to wash each one. It can't agitate because it'll felt into a ball. So we need to keep it, it soaks and spins real fast, but it doesn't agitate. After it leaves the washer, it comes over here to the drying racks. We spread it out in these racks, have a fan blowing on it. Takes about a day and a half to dry. If we're gonna dye it any colors, like this blue here, it would come out of the washer and go right into the dye vats. Then it comes out of the dye vat, back in the washer for a rinse, and then on the drying racks to dry. Then the next step is over here to the picker. We lay the fiber on this belt right here. There's a drum in here with fingers on it that spins. And then it comes into this room and opens it all up. Once it's all opened up, we gather it all up, put it back in the totes, and it comes over to here. These are called the dehairers, or fiber separators. What this machine does, you can see all the little pieces of pieces of hay, pieces of grass and stuff that is in the fiber. These machines actually take that out. So I lay it on here thin. About like that. Goes through here, picks all those little pieces out. And the nice clean stuff comes out the end here. Any of the particles that we don't want fall in the bins down below. After it's done here, comes over here to the carders. The carders are like a big comb. So we weigh out the fiber. And there's 3 ounces in each one of them coffee cans. And then between this blue line and the next blue line coming up, we lay out the fiber as even as possible. About like that. And what this machine is going to do, it's going to comb it and make all the fibers go in the same direction, and it comes out as roving at the other end. So here's our roving, and if you can see, all the fibers are going in the same direction. That's what we need to do to spin it. Or if you're going to do hand spinning, here's a bump of rovings, and this person here is going to take this and hand spin it with a wheel, and they could use this right off of the, it's already combed for them. Then when we get ready to spin, it goes in these barrels over to here, and this is called the draw frame. And what we're doing is we're putting two of those rovings together, but stretching it out and putting them together as one again. By doing that, it makes it more consistent in size, so our yarn is very consistent when we spin it. So 1 yard coming into this end is 2.5 yards coming out of this end. And again, it goes into these barrels. We actually run it through this machine twice because we want it as perfect as possible. After it's gone through here the second time, then it comes over here to the spinner. Oops. So now we're spinning. What we're doing here, it's drafting it, which is pulling it apart. You can see how fast this one's going and how slow this one is. That drafts it. And then these spindles are spinning 2,900 times a minute, and that's what puts the twist in the yarn. So 1 inch coming in is 4.5 inches coming out. So I can stop that, and you can see now we have a single ply yarn here. Then we got our singles. So now whatever the customer wants, if they want a 2-ply, 3-ply, 4-ply, then we put it up here. This is called the plier. So we're going to spin these 3 singles together to make a 3-ply yarn. And that's what the yarn is going to look like when it's done. That's a 3-ply worsted weight yarn. Then we got it all on our bobbins. We have to get it off our bobbins so we have them to spin. It comes over here to, this is the cone winder. Takes it off the bobbins and puts on the cones. And then we take the cones, set it here, and this is a steamer. You can see the steam coming out. It sets the twist so it doesn't untwist when we cut it. So it steams it here, dries it here, goes to the wall and back onto this machine. And then to put since we have so many bobbins, we have to splice those bobbins together. So this is the splicer. Makes a splice, rub it together. You don't need to see it. Put it back onto this machine. Then we start it up. So now we're steaming the yarn. Once it's all steamed, comes in here. And this is a skein winder. So what this machine does, we set it for how many yards they want per skein. It goes around in a circle, stops when it hits that set number. We cut it, tie it off. Now this is called a hank of yarn. And so it doesn't get all knotted up, we turn it into a skein of yarn. Just like that. And then this goes in a proper bin. We bag it up, weigh it, and it gets sent back to the customer, just like that. Here's some examples of our dyed yarn that we have here. A basket of dryer balls that we make. Insoles for boots. Socks that we have made from our fiber. Then of course the rugs. We sell tons of rugs. This is that Bison. And this is a sample of the sheep's wool. Here's some of the fibers that we use for blending. There's I don't know if it shows up in the bag, but tencel, bamboo, nylon, silk. Merino. There are different fibers that we use for blending here. The rugs. These are the rug bumps that we make prior to making the rugs.
4-H is the largest youth organization in the United States with over 7 million youth members. 4-H helps kids to do better in school, learn to help others, and feel more capable and responsible. 4-H Youth Development is part of Cornell Cooperative Extension. 4-H youth programs connect kids to the resources of Cornell University and the land grant system, strengthening the next generation of inventors, entrepreneurs, and problem solvers. How old do you have to be to join 4-H? 4-H is for youth ages 5 to 18. Do you have to own an animal to do 4-H? No, we offer many animal-free projects and programs. Some of the 4-H activities and projects include animal science, horticulture, robotics, community service, food and nutrition, sewing, shooting sports, woodworking, electric, farm crops, and conservation. Fair and exhibits offer a chance to showcase projects and skills to the community. There are leadership opportunities and public speaking and contests at county, district, and state level. Research shows that New York youth credit their 4-H clubs with making them better citizens, leaders, and communicators. It shows that 4-H youth are competent, confident, caring, and connected, and that they exhibit strong character, and that 4-Hers contribute more to their families and communities, achieve higher grades in school, and are more likely to go to college than youth who are not in 4-H, or even youth who participate in other out-of-school programs. Additionally, youth involved in 4-H lead healthier, more productive lives, are less likely to suffer from depression, and are less likely to participate in risky behaviors like drinking and smoking. The 4-H's head, heart, hands, and health represent 4 basic human needs: independence, belonging, generosity, and mastery. How do you get enrolled in 4-H? Call us in Steuben County at 607-664-2300, and we'll answer all your questions.